everybody. So today we're going to be talking about section 5.14, which is about integrated pest management. So in 5.6, we talked about typical methods that are used for pest control. So this is going to be looking at some more sustainable methods that are going to decrease our need for using pesticides. So the learning objective for today is that you're going to be able to describe integrated pest management and describe some of the benefits and drawbacks of this. You're going to learn some different strategies that can be used for controlling pests in this way, and some of the ways that it's going to reduce risks from pesticides and some other benefits that are going to come from it. So, integrated pest management, IPM for short, is going to be where you use a variety of pest control methods that can minimize the environmental disruption and pesticide use. So it takes a decent amount of time. You need to research and monitor pests and then target methods that are going to be specific to that pest life cycle. So you've got the monitoring, you've got identification, you've got to take all of these factors into account because it's integrated, which means you're integrating a bunch of different methods in order to effectively control pests for the crop. So the first method of integrated pest management is going to be biocontrol. And this is where you introduce a natural predator, parasite, or competitor to control the pest population. This could either be actually purposely purchasing and spreading these organisms in the fields, or you could build homes to attract them, or you could plant specific habitat that's also going to attract them naturally. So some examples of really effective biocontrol are going to be using ladybugs to eat aphids, or spiders will eat many different pest species, or we've got some parasitic wasps that will specifically eat caterpillars. Another strategy is using crop rotation. So many pests, because they have kind of a specific life cycle, they're going to prefer one specific crop or crop family, ones that are related to each other. They're going to lay their eggs in the soil, so when the larvae hatch, they have their preferred food source. So one of the ways that you can make it not so hospitable for those pests is by rotating your crop, so planting a different crop each season. This is going to prevent pests from becoming really established because it's going to disrupt their preferred food choices. So you'll just rotate every year or so that when these pests are making their families and laying their eggs, they won't always have those preferred methods, so they can't become really powerful and established in a certain area. This is also beneficial because it's going to disrupt weed growth, because different crops can be planted at different times, which is going to prevent you from just having this bare soil from weeds taking over. So that will also decrease your herbicide use in addition to your pesticide use. So another thing that you can do is intercropping. And this is going to be, we kind of describe it as like the push-pull system. So if you've got push plants, these are going to be ones that like push them away. They are going to emit volatile chemicals that just kind of naturally repel pests from an area. Maybe it's going to be a smell that they don't like, or it's other chemicals. So those are going to push them away. Another one that's actually super effective, and I use it in my own gardening, they're going to be pull plants. And these pull plants are going to emit chemicals that attract the certain pests to them. So you're actually kind of planting these like sacrificial plants to take all the pests onto them to keep them away from the crops that you actually care about. So for example, these moths are going to be attracted to this type of grass, so they will actually go there and they will leave alone the crops, the corn that you actually care about. So this is going to provide habitat, or pull plants that are going to emit those chemicals can attract natural pest predators as well. So you can even use those pull plants to attract predators, in addition to being able to use it as a sacrificial crop to pull the pests away from it. So they can kind of be used for a couple different options. So there are benefits and drawbacks to integrated pest management. there's going to be a lot of benefits. One of the benefits is that it's going to reduce death and mutation of non-target species. So, for example, some of the problems that we talked about with the pesticides, glyphosate causes bees to die off, DDT caused eagle death, atrazine caused insects in frogs. And so when you're not using so many pesticides, you aren't going to have these unintended consequences to animals that you weren't trying to originally hurt. It's also going to reduce the effect on human consumers of produce. Although eating foods that have been treated with pesticides has been shown to be at safe levels from the FDA, there are always kind of concerns about these building up in tissues or over prolonged use. Some people are definitely concerned about that, or having them in high levels, such as migrant workers who are the ones actually farming the fields and spraying these pesticides. They have much higher rates of cancers because of this. And so this is going to reduce the harmful effects on humans who are being impacted by these pesticides. Oh, sorry. As I said, many pesticides are cancer causers, which is why we see higher levels of cancer in the farmers and the workers who harvest them. Additionally, it's going to reduce contamination of surface and groundwater by agricultural runoff with pesticides. Now, there's basically the one downside to integrated pest management. It can be more time-consuming and costly than just having a plane go and spread a bunch of pesticides on top of a crop. So you're going to take a bunch of time to research specific pests, planting these different crops, like cultivating these environments to naturally take care of the pests. Additionally, this is going to be why organic food is way more expensive, or at least part of it, but this is a big part of it. It takes a lot more labor, so you have to pay those people more. It takes a lot more time, and just generally, it's going to be a lot more time consuming and expensive. So that's going to be ultimately like the biggest drawback, especially when we're trying to find foods that are going to feed the large mass of people for affordable amounts. So lots of benefits, but kind of a big drawback. So this is going to be your practice FRQ, where I want you to, looking at this graph here, I want you to justify whether or not this data supports these data. Sorry, that's plural. Yeah. Yep, data's plural. Sorry. Justify whether or not these data support the use of a biocontrol method of limiting pest damage. So we've got our control group, our non-treated control. We've got all of these different biotreatments that we're trying compared to the numbers of diseased and pests. So justify whether or not you think the data supports the use of biocontrol methods of limiting pest damage. So that's going to be your practice FRQ for 5.14. And this is going to be your notes on integrated pest management.